Alright, welcome back. My name is Morty, this is Mildly Gunpla, and today we're looking at a high grade, not a seed kit for once. This one's from the Universal Century, or more specifically, Unicorn Gundam. So we're looking at the Jegan. So I have already built the master grade of this, or a type of the master grade of this, but this one's a bit of an older one, and of course, it's a high grade. So jumping straight into the box, we've got the A runner with polycaps. That's a pity, but not overly surprising from a 9-year-old kit. We've got the E runner and the B runner in the backs, obviously feet, what looks to be shield and the torso and things in there. And what's the E runner? That's a big old bazooka and weapon systems. The D runner, so you've got two-part D runner, so this will be internals of one of the legs or the arms. And then the, whichever runner this one is. What letter am I missing? C? Probably. Yeah, the C runner. So this is the final one, so this is more armor parts for looking like the legs, and as well as a couple of effect parts for the beams. So going to be a bit of a quicker build today, being a high grade. I've decided to not do a master grade this week. I'm hoping I get a chance to sit down and smash out a couple of kits later on a day off though. Now, it is just your normal brochure type of thing. Yeah, it's literally 3 pages worth of building instructions, so it's probably going to be a fairly quick one, which I'm actually kind of looking forward to. It's always nice to find these really simple to build, really easy to build ones that are kind of designed for a mass production kind of style. And if this visor has a drop-down gimmick, that'll be really interesting. So looking forward to seeing what this kit has to offer. I absolutely loved the master grade, so I am quite keen to do this one. So let's jump into the build, and I'll see you on the other side for my thoughts. Alright, so there it is, the Jegan high grade. So this kit's actually really cool. I quite enjoyed it. It was a very, very easy build. It probably took me maybe an hour and a half at best. Not even that, I don't think, probably about an hour. So if you're wanting a really quick and easy build, this is definitely one to put high at the top of the list, especially if you're on a budget, because the Jegan was pretty cheap. It was around about $30 Australian, so it's probably about $15 in other countries, let's be honest. But it doesn't have the gimmick in the head that I was hoping for. Instead, it has an extra part, which you can kind of make out there in my hand, that you swap out for. Now, it does have a couple of interesting little gimmicks which are displayed on the back of this pamphlet. So it's got actually really good articulation in the shoulders and the elbows and the knees. It was all primarily polycaps, but the way it was put together is a bit different from what I'm used to, so it's quite a bit more interesting than normal. Round on the back, you do see a lot of the seam lines, like these ones here. They are really, really obvious. So if you're wanting like a perfectly formed Jegan, it will take quite a bit more work. There's nub marks on a lot of the plastic. A lot of it's quite heavily exposed as well. So they do stand out quite sharply. Now it does have a really cool articulation gimmick in the waist joint with how the hips and the connection to the legs work, which is quite an interesting one. And the overall colour scheme of it is super militaristic, which I really like. I quite like the whole colour scheme and and theme that these Jegan units have. So I'm really glad I got this kit. It's quite a cool one. It stands out really interestingly amongst all the gleaming white and red that you often find with Gundam kits. So something a bit more realistic almost in a genre called real robots. The actual like proper military application of colorizing robots is really hard to find because they don't sell as well as like bright pretty colors to kids, I guess. But as a high grade kit, unfortunately I am only going to give it the high tier because obviously num marks everywhere and polycaps. If it had less polycaps in use, because like out of all of this, there's 3 left on this entire runner, so there is a lot of polycaps in this kit. If it had used less polycaps and had been really sparing with them, I would be a lot more generous with it, but unfortunately that is going to be detrimental in the long run. Otherwise, it's a really nice kit. I did quite enjoy the build. Again, it was really fast, so it's a very short afternoon for just a snap build like myself. But if you're planning on doing like a long build, then definitely get this kit. It'd be quite a bit of fun to do a custom or modifications to it and things. Let's pull in a little bit more on it, shall we? Yeah, you can see just on the shield there, that great big white nub mark right there. And there's some on top of the weapon, the gun there as well. So the weapons were like 3, maybe 4 pieces in total. There is quite a bit of leftover stuff, obviously from the other versions of the Jegan. But it does mean that you could probably mix and match a few things and make it a little bit more interesting, which is quite cool. And they might come in handy for future kit bashes, which is always rather nice. So that's it for my review. Thank you very much for watching and sticking with me for this. The Jegan, I really like this kit. I'm quite tempted to get another one of the master grades because it was just so much fun and do some custom work to it, which I'm no good at, but I do want to dabble more in the coming years. So keep an eye out for that. That might eventually happen now that the idea has occurred to me. Otherwise, I will see you next week for whatever I end up building next week. I don't know. It's going to be a surprise for you and for me. I'll see you then.